Hey, I'm Melissa Shannon, founder of digitalscrapbookinghq.com, and today I'm here with another Photoshop Elements tutorial.
Today I'm going to be showing you how you can create a scrapbook page in Photoshop Elements. This page is a little different from many that I create because I'm not using a photo, but I start in the same way. I create a new 12 by 12 document and then make sure I save it. You don't want your work to go to waste. I'm going to be working in expert mode in Photoshop Elements. Now, the first thing I did was I had the idea from the inspiration for the layout today to use speech bubbles on my page. So I just did a quick search in Photoshop Elements Organizer to find speech bubbles. So I just browse around for some other similar speech bubbles. In fact, and I couldn't find any more in that same kit, so I just looked for a kit that had a similar speech bubble on paper. Then I moved them all around and I decided that I wanted to have some speech bubbles that were facing the opposite direction, but I couldn't find any that looked really great. So what I did was I went to the layer image menu and then image, rotate, flip layer horizontal to get the speech bubbles the opposite way. Now at this point in my design I kind of hadn't really thought through exactly what I wanted on the page, so I was thinking I'd cover up the whole page with these speech bubbles with text. So here I am just changing the font. So here I'm just adjusting the font to be a nice typewriter font and the size. Then I can move the text around and get it to look exactly how I like it. I usually use 14 point because that means that when I print it out, even if I only print it at 8 by 8 size, it'll still be readable. And then I just keep on adding lines of text and just moving them around wherever they look good on the speech bubble. I decided to do one speech bubble for each of my children with just some quotable quotes that they've been saying lately. So my youngest son is obsessed with all things dark and he is as blonde as they come. So his favourite thing is to tell us that he has dark hair. It's quite amusing. So for the next part of the process, I'm on my phone with the Ronna Designs app. I vaguely remembered that there was some sort of cute kit in Ronna Designs that you could use to make your own family portraits. So that's Alexa Zerka's portrait pack, and I purchased that one. And then you can just create a new document or design in Ronna Designs, and then you click on that top little starburst and you can see all the packs. You just select the portrait pack, purchase it, and then tap on it again to insert your face. And you can choose whichever face you like, and you can also select the portrait add-ons. So I just played around with a few things on my phone to just show you what some of the options are. You've got garlands, you've got glasses, you've got shirts and tops and all that kind of stuff. And you can also add a little wreath around the edge of your portrait. So this is how I created my portrait of each child. Now I actually saved them all on one background and then I exported the file to my camera roll so that I could then import it back into Photoshop Elements. But you can see it's a lot of fun playing around with Ronna Designs. Definitely check it out if you haven't already. So here I am back in Photoshop Elements. I'm just opening up the JPEG file that the Ronna app has saved and then inserting that into Photoshop Elements and placing that image. I'm just resizing it and getting it exactly where I want it on the page. And now I'm rearranging all the speech bubbles. That's the great thing with the layers in Photoshop Elements. You can always go back and change anything and move things to your heart's content. So here I'm just adding some text again and moving them all around to look pretty playful. I mean, some of the children I had more quotes for. Emily, hers was struggling to fit in that bubble. So what I decided to do was use the text inner shape tool to rearrange and fit all of those quotes inside that speech bubble. So the first thing I did was I selected the shape tool. Just selected the shape tool, and then I mouse over the shape tool and add the text to the shape. But then I did just turn off that shape so that I could see what I was doing and resized that text box to fit. You can see there's a thin black line around the edge of my text. That's where the text will wrap into the shape. So now on to the finishing touches on the page. I wanted to add some love hearts, so I just did a quick search for hearts within the catalogue here, and I pulled in some paper hearts that looked a bit similar to those to those speech bubbles. And so I did another quick search for stitches. I thought it would be fun to overlay with some stitches and then add a title to my scrapbook page. So here I did a search for stitches and I found a few, and I decided to go with repeating the same stitches a few times. So I just hold down my Alt key and then drag and move the stitches around so it looks like they were different stitches, but they're just the same ones moved along a bit. The magic of digital. So I used my alphas tag in Photoshop Elements Organizer to look for an alphabet, and I found this blue one that I really like. So here I am just selecting all the letters I'll need for the word September, and then I'll drag and drop them onto my layout. And because I'm wanting it to have a more whimsical look, I'm not aligning any of the letters. I'm just going to drag them all on and place them by hand. I did create a group for all of these letters so that I could move them around easily and add a layer style. It just makes things easier if you group your layers. So I selected them all and pressed Command G or Control G to create a group. And then I selected everything that needed a shadow and added a shadow to it using One Little Bird's Shadow Like Me shadow styles. And then it was just a matter of finessing, fiddling around with the stitches and adding the rest of the title as heard in September. And then I finally wanted to just brighten up the main portrait because it seemed a little dull compared with the September. So I just did a quick layer adjustment for the brightness. And you can see I played around with it quite a bit until I was happy with how everything was looking, and then that I decided a finishing touch would be to add everyone's name and age. So I just duplicated the same text layer several times and moved them all around and changed the name and age. I really liked how that joined Matthew a little bit more with his speech bubble. Now in the end I did change it onto a craft coloured background, which I didn't show on camera. What I did for that was I just selected all the white area for the portrait and just layer masked that out. So I just selected all the white, inverted the selection, and then created a layer mask to hide that bit. Now if that all sounds Greek to you, don't worry, just put yours on a white background and you'll be good. But in the end I was really thrilled with how this photoless layout turned out, and I was so inspired again by Layout a Day from Scrap Happy Family. If you want to learn more about Scrap Happy, go to digiscraphq.com/scraphappy.
Thanks so much for joining me today. If you'd like to learn more about digital scrapbooking or Photoshop elements, head to digitalscrapbookinghq.com.